Did you know that the world's first film, a mere 2.11 seconds long, was made in 1888? So began the fascinating journey of cinema, a medium that would forever transform how we tell and perceive stories. In the late 19th century, inventors around the world were racing to create a device that could capture and project moving images. One of the key figures was Thomas Edison, whose invention, the kinetoscope, allowed one person at a time to view moving pictures through a peephole. However, it was the Lumiere brothers, Auguste and Louis, who would bring this spectacle to the masses. Their invention, the cinématographe, was a lightweight, handheld device that could both capture and project moving images. With it, they created Workers Leaving the Lumiere Factory, which was screened in 1895 and is often considered the first public exhibition of a motion picture. But cinema was not just about technology. It was also about the stories that could be told through this new medium. Early films like the Roundhay Garden scene and the arrival of a train at La Ciotat were simple recordings of everyday life. Yet, they amazed audiences with their ability to capture and recreate reality. As filmmakers began to experiment, they discovered that they could use cinema to tell stories. This led to the silent era of films, where actors used exaggerated expressions and title cards to convey plot and dialogue. During this time, narrative storytelling in cinema truly began to take shape, with films like The Great Train Robbery, using editing techniques to create suspense and direct the viewer's attention. Cinema, in its infancy, was a silent world of black and white. Yet, within these silent shadows, filmmakers found a vibrant palette of storytelling possibilities. Through the flicker of the projector, they discovered a new language of light and shadow, movement and stillness, spectacle and intimacy. And thus, in the silent shadows of black and white, the world of cinema was born. A world that would continue to evolve and inspire, enchanting audiences across the globe for more than a century and beyond. Imagine a world without spoken words in films. Difficult, isn't it? This was the reality for cinema goers in the early days of film. Silent movies with their exaggerated expressions and title cards were the norm. But as the late 20s rolled around, a new wave was about to hit the shores of cinema, and it came with a sound. Silent films were not without their charm, but they lacked one critical aspect of storytelling: the spoken word. The transition from silence to sound in cinema was not an overnight process. It was a challenging and gradual transition that met with initial resistance. But the tide was turning, and there was no stopping it. In 1927, something remarkable happened. A film called The Jazz Singer hit the screens. This wasn't just another silent film. No, this was something different, something groundbreaking. The Jazz Singer was the first feature-length motion picture with synchronized dialogue. It wasn't a full talkie, but it was a start. It mixed silent scenes with sequences of synchronized dialogue and singing, and the effect was electrifying. The impact of The Jazz Singer was tremendous. It sent shockwaves through the industry. Audiences were enthralled by the novelty of hearing actors speak and sing. It was a game changer. Cinema had found a new dimension, and it was all about sound. However, the transition was not without its challenges. Some in the industry resisted the change. Silent film stars worried about their careers, and theater owners fretted about the cost of installing sound equipment. But as time went on, the benefits of sound in cinema became clear, and the resistance began to wane. The advent of sound in cinema forever changed the landscape of storytelling. It brought a new depth to characters, a new layer to plots, and a new way for filmmakers to connect with their audiences. From the moment The Jazz Singer uttered its first synchronized words, cinema was never the same. With the advent of sound, cinema found its voice, forever changing the way stories were told. Ever wondered why the 1940s and 50s are called the Golden Age of Hollywood? Well, let's dive in and find out. This era was marked by the rise of the studio system, which cemented Hollywood's dominance in global cinema. The Big Five studios, MGM, Warner Brothers, RKO, Paramount, and 20th Century Fox, virtually controlled the industry, churning out films with remarkable efficiency. These studios had a knack for creating stars. They signed talents under exclusive contracts, crafting and controlling their public images. This star system gave rise to icons such as Clark Gable, Katharine Hepburn, and the legendary Marilyn Monroe, whose charisma and allure still captivate audiences today. In terms of films, the Golden Age produced some of the most enduring classics in cinema history. Take, for instance, the sweeping epic Gone with the Wind, a film that still holds the record for the highest-grossing movie of all time when adjusted for inflation. Or Casablanca, with its unforgettable lines and timeless romance. World War II also had a profound impact on cinema during this period. With Europe in turmoil, Hollywood took center stage in the global film industry. The war influenced the themes and narratives of many films, reflecting the realities and sentiments of the time. It also led to technological advancements in filmmaking, as studios sought to enhance the cinematic experience and provide an escape from the harsh realities of the world. But it wasn't all glitz and glamour. The studio system was also marked by strict control and lack of creative freedom for many artists, an issue that would eventually lead to its decline. Yet, despite its flaws, it created a blueprint for the production, marketing, and distribution of films that still influences the industry today. The Golden Age was a time of glamour, innovation, and cinematic masterpieces that continue to inspire filmmakers today. It was a period when storytelling, star power, and the magic of the movies came together in a way that has left an indelible mark on the world of cinema. What do you get when you mix cultural revolutions with filmmaking? The answer? New waves. The 60s and 70s were a time of profound change and upheaval around the globe, and cinema was no exception. This period gave rise to a series of cinematic new waves in various parts of the world, each one unique, yet all sharing a desire to challenge the status quo and break free from traditional constraints. In France, the Nouvelle Vague, or New Wave, was born out of a dissatisfaction with the conventional and formulaic French cinema of the time. Directors like Jean-Luc Godard and François Truffaut began creating films that were less about storytelling and more about the art of cinema itself, experimenting with innovative techniques and narrative structures. Meanwhile, over in Japan, the Nubaru Bagu, or Japanese New Wave, was pushing boundaries in a different way. Their films were often controversial, challenging societal norms and expectations with their frank and unfiltered depictions of sex, violence, and political dissent. And let's not forget the emergence of independent cinema in the United States. Directors like John Cassavetes and later the Coen brothers began making films outside of the Hollywood system, focusing on character-driven narratives and complex themes often overlooked by mainstream cinema. But the 70s didn't just bring us indie films and new waves. It was also the dawn of the blockbuster era, with films like Jaws and Star Wars redefining what a successful movie could look like. The advent of special effects technologies allowed filmmakers to create worlds and characters that were previously unimaginable, captivating audiences around the world and ushering in a new age of cinema. So what do we see when we look back at this period of cinematic history? We see a time of great change and innovation, where filmmakers were not afraid to challenge the norms and push the boundaries of what cinema could be. As society changed, so did cinema, reflecting the world in ways we had never seen before. Could the film pioneers of the past ever have imagined that one day movies would be made on phones? This rhetorical question marks the start of our journey into the era of the digital revolution in cinema and beyond. The shift from traditional film to digital was like a tectonic shift in the cinematic landscape. When celluloid film, the backbone of movies for over a century, was replaced by digital technology, it was as if cinema had been reborn. Digital technology made it easier, faster, and more cost-effective to create films, opening up a world of possibilities for filmmakers. Then came the rise of computer-generated imagery, or CGI. This technology has transformed the way we tell stories on screen. With CGI, filmmakers can create fantastical worlds, bring to life creatures of myth and legend, and make the impossible possible. It's truly revolutionized the cinematic experience, but the digital revolution didn't stop at production. The way we consume cinema has also drastically changed. Streaming platforms have exploded onto the scene, giving us access to a universe of films and series at our fingertips. They've made cinema more accessible and more diverse than ever before. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of the digital revolution is the democratization of filmmaking. With a camera in every pocket, anyone can be a filmmaker. This has led to an explosion of creativity, with people from all walks of life bringing their unique stories to the screen. So, what does the future hold for cinema? Will virtual reality become the new norm? Will artificial intelligence direct our films? Or will we see a resurgence of traditional filmmaking techniques in response to the digital age? The possibilities are endless. In the world of cinema, the only constant is change. Who knows what the next chapter of this incredible story will be?